Let's try this again. Alrighty. There we go. All right, everything seems to be functioning somewhat normally here. Normally as it can be, I guess, when it comes to shitty live streams on YouTube. Alrighty. So, okay, okay, so what's happening, everybody? If you were just on the other live stream that I just started, and then apparently was live streaming a frozen screen, me just sitting there doing nothing, my apologies. Hopefully I got it figured out. I guess we'll see. Anywho, Hail Mary Recordings, Wayne Sliger, Martian Murray are all in here. What's happening, fellas? Wayne Sliger, Martian Murray, don't recall. Those are two usernames I'm not familiar with. So hopefully you're, I don't know how long you guys been following the channel or not, but I haven't done a live stream in quite a while, and I don't know, I just felt like sitting down in front of the camera today, so I thought I'd sit down and hang out with you guys for a little bit and see what's what. Sometimes you guys like to talk about some cool stuff, so I thought I would sit down and talk about some cool stuff with you, whatever that may be. And yeah, there we have it. So there we have it. So what's new with everybody? What's the latest piece of gear everybody's eyeballing? Wayne Sliger's I've been watching for a while, just sometimes can't participate due to work. I get that. Sometimes I wish I had a lot more time for YouTube, to produce YouTube videos, but reality is, honestly, most everything that I do, you guys, that you guys see is all, is all stuff that I do on, basically on, lunch hours and, in between, before and after work, that kind of stuff. So I try not to do anything on the weekends. I do have another video that I need to edit that, I don't know, frankly, I don't think I'm going to screw with it today. But, just because it's, like I said, I really try not to have to get any of that stuff on a Saturday. But, this week I was on vacation from work, and, Tuesday, of course, is the 4th of July. So, I kind of fell behind my usual regular schedule, but a downbeat exegete, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right or not, says I would do live broadcasts regularly, so there'll be more in here. Yeah, I used to do these things every week, and they just never quite took off. I enjoyed them, but it was it topped out over at about 50 viewers, maybe upwards of 60, once or twice, generally speaking. And I say, when I say I did these regularly, I mean for, a couple of years. This is, every single Saturday at the same time, hence this is why the title of this one says episode 91 is because I've done this almost 100 times now, and the first 60 or 70 of them were, I guess maybe not 2 years, but a year and a half. All again, pretty just religiously every Saturday. every Saturday around right at about the same time, and I mean it just never quite took off. So like I said, I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed coming coming to hang out with those of you that did come and hang on the live stream, but it was never a big. The purpose was never to build a audience, which well, I guess to a degree it was, but it never did. So Herbert Schmidt. Herbert Schmidt here says, Robert, nice to see you again. Marshall Murray says, I can't hear now. If you can't hear now, that's I mean, I still got audio. I still got my little bar bouncing back and forth as I'm talking. So I mean, if anybody else having trouble hearing me, let me know. But I should be audible. Wayne Slager says, I was so surprised you did a video on the power driver and extortion pedals. They were my first pedals. I mean, I've done demo videos on both of those pedals individually, but I never, and I think I probably did touch on the rarity of each of those, in one of, if not both of those videos. But I mean, they were essentially released right at the same time, kind of go hand in hand. I never did a video on, the actual rarity of the two together, so it was meant to be a little bit different than than the actual demos, and it really just kind of meant to share some history, a little bit of history about Boss pedals, those ones in particular. So but regardless, glad you enjoyed it. And I don't know if there's any other videos out there about them, but you guys know I love Boss pedals, so I always enjoy making Boss pedal videos, and there's plenty of them on my channel. So Thunder Falcon says, got the Wampler Phenom pedal yesterday. I like it. Did you do a video on it? I don't remember. No, I have not gotten my hands on that pedal yet, and it is one that I would like to get my hands on. But right now, I'm fortunate because I've had a lot of companies, not a lot, but a few more than usual, that have reached out to me lately wanting me to produce demo videos for them. So so I do have those on my plate that I got to get done first. And and the other thing is I'm really trying not to. I just got my Guitar Center card paid off a couple months ago, and I'm not in buying mode right now, because I'm the money that I'm normally putting towards that every month right now is now going into the bank account. So I'm that's all Les Paul money right now. So maybe I'll actually get to buy that goddamn thing this year. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. So I don't know. I'll get my hands on it here eventually. I mean, that's a pedal right up my alley, and Wampler. I mean, I've never seen a bad Wampler pedal. So but that is something that's right up my alley. And honestly, a pedal in that price range that's still made in the U.S. That's kind of, I don't know, it's hard to find, but because I guess you get the Earthquakers and the other companies like that are all have a $100 pedal, $100-ish pedal out there, but still, so I guess it's not that rare. But usually in that price point they're imports. So like I said, and Brian's, I don't want to say I know Brian real well, but I know him a little bit, and he's a good guy. I like to support him and his brand. William De Silva is here. Happy Straturday, he says. You guys aren't going to believe this, but you know what or maybe you will believe this, I don't know, but I have actually never owned a really nice Strat. The only Strat I've ever owned was a Squier Vintage Modified. That's the only one. I would really like to have an Ultra Series Strat. I really like those Ultra Strats. Those things are badass. Savinity's here. Yep, we had to restart the whole live stream process, which unfortunately requires killing the first one and starting a new one. So if you were in that one, you got kicked out after like a minute or however long it was on. Sorry about that. Not my intention. Technology sucks. See, I picked up a brand new EVH 5150 overdrive yesterday for $40. That's not bad. Actually, I haven't tried that one yet either, but I know it's MXR's making those, I think. But yeah, right place, right time. Nothing wrong with those deals. I love a right place, right time deal when it comes my way. And I've been fortunate enough to have plenty. So, I'm sitting next to a stack of amps that are a lot of which are right place, right time deals. So, somebody commented on if you guys remember that affordable. I think it was affordable tube amp video that I did, back in like 2020. Affordable tube amps under $800. Somebody commented on that video. So none of these amps have ever been under $800, even before COVID. Even back in 2020. Before inflation, all that. And I think in that same video, I think I had the PV Windsor. I think I had the Crate Blue Voodoo. I think I had the. I can't remember if the Marshall Mode 4 was mentioned in there or not. But even though that one's gone up since then, I mean there are tons of amps in there that were not only well under $800. In 2020, but still are. So some people fucking kill me. There is a lot of amps in that video that are now obsolete. The Randall stuff is all skyrocketed. That's the first one that comes to mind. But yeah, it's been 3 years since I've made it, so I don't really remember what all I put in it anymore. Anyway, but let's see. Thunder Falcon says JHS Octave Reverb is awesome. I love it. JHF stuff is pretty good too, man. I really like their I don't know what you call them. I mean, they're like the Bonsai and the what's the one that's in that series that came out that's all the rat circuits in the same pedal. I can't remember the name of that one. But those are those two of his pedals I really like. They've got like 9 or 10 or 11 different versions of a specific circuit. He's got one. There's one for the Tube Screamer. That's the Bonsai, and then there's the rat one, and then the other one I think is called the Muffaletta, which is the big muff circuit, and it's fuzz. You can keep that one, but but I know a lot of fuzz fanatics, or big muff people that really like that one. So I like those, and the Angry Charlie of course is a good one, which is based on the Blues Driver. Hence the Angry Driver collaboration that those two did. And I've not tried it, but I'm told that the Andy Timmons distortion from JHS is absolutely killer. So I keep meaning to try to get my hands on one because I'd like to try it. And the guy that told me, he said that was the best distortion pedal he's ever played. And the guy that told me that is he's got really, really similar tastes in tone as I do, except he's a lot pickier. Let's see. Tubular Bill says, I have the highest respect for Brian Wampler's stuff. I agree, as do I. Says I picked up a 2011 Chinese Fender Strat SSH, HSS, whatever you want to call it. That's surprisingly pretty good. Yeah, I mean, and I don't even remember now. That, the vintage modified Squier thing that I had was, at the time, I think it was like a $250 guitar, brand new maybe, and I got it cheap. I bought, and really it was the only reason I bought it is because it was, it was really well made for the price, and Had Duncan design pickups in it. So I mean, it had something decent in it. And I think I only paid like $80 for it. It was it was not a bad guitar, but I don't play that kind of stuff these days. And that was, God, 10 years ago, maybe 15. So yeah, I don't know, and I never fell in love with it. I never fell in love with it, but they are, in that price point, they are pretty good guitars. I think the vintage modified and the classic vibe stuff. Savinity says, "What is the newest edition?" Well, I guess it depends on if you're talking guitars or amps or pedals or, pedals. I mean, I've gotten, some stuff that, Newx just sent me a bunch of stuff that I just finished up a video on yesterday. So you guys will see that this week. EART guitars, ERT. I don't know how it's pronounced. They sent me one of their models to demo. You guys are going to see that here in the coming weeks. That was a nice guitar. I was pretty impressed with that one. So I'm excited for you guys to see that video because I'm really looking forward to the feedback that you offer after seeing it, because I think it's a great guitar. Amps, I don't know. I guess I don't really. Yeah, I don't think I've acquired any new amps lately. I mean, probably the newest one is the Wong's HD30 that I demoed a few months back, which is the Soldano. That's their SLO30. It's I mean, I guess technically it's a clone, but it's not exactly a 1-to-1 clone of an SLO30, but that's what it's based on. That's probably the newest amp that I've got. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you look around me, I don't need much. If you look all around me and in the background, and like this stuff here. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is a pile. This actually might be a good time to bring this up. This is a bunch of Sterling Audio, studio gear. That's an ST159 condenser mic, S452 headphones, SHA4 headphone amplifier, and the H224 USB recording interface, which is kind of along the lines of a 2-input, 2-channel, 2i2, 2i4 ish interface. I mean, God, somebody, Sterling didn't send them to me. I mean, somebody sent them to me a while back to check out, and I never got around to it. And then, the people that sent it to me, they, didn't really, decided they didn't care too much anymore. So, so now they're just kind of just sitting here chilling. And I need to check them out and do something with them. So I don't know if that's if that's a video that you guys would be interested in seeing, being as that's all pretty pretty affordable and readily available recording gear. That some people might get something out of. So if that's something you guys want to see, let me know. Martian Murray left and came back. Now he can hear. That's cool. Good deal. Thunder Falcon says, I bought a Squire Tilly Deluxe Friday. I was shocked at how good it is. Yep, again, they're putting out some pretty good stuff. William Silva says, try the 5150 overdrive out when you get a chance. It's fucking amazing. I will do so. What is that one based on? I mean, obviously it's an Eddie. I don't know if it's based on Eddie's earlier stuff, which I don't think he was ever a Tube Screamer guy. Maybe he was, but or maybe it was based on more the the PV era stuff or the current 5150. I don't know. I don't know much about it. I just I've seen it. And I've seen, of course, the pedal out there in the stores and on the interwebs It's got the EVH and the 5150 logos on it, and it says overdrive. William Silva says, yeah, Squier is a great brand. They've come up big time in the last 15 or so years. I agree. However, it was that period throughout the 90s and early 2000s that really bit them in the ass. I don't think it's, I mean, they may live it down, but I mean, there's still a lot of people that just have that mindset that Squier means cheap beginner junk, because back in that period, that's what was, anything with that name on it, that's what it was. And finally they decided to do something with it, actually make those, make that brand and make those guitars, pretty nice and, playable, but, serviceable instruments. But prior to that, they weren't. And, any serious musician wouldn't even stop to, take a leak on a Squier, much less take a look. So, and there's a lot of people that just still have that mindset about that brand, so I mean, it's, they may live it down one day, but right now, and, serious musicians, it's, some of them anyway, it's kind of a tough sell. My knees hurt says, hello people, I'm making a 212 cab slowly. I've seen a lot of people that are doing that, and it's a good way, especially if you can get a hold of a good set of speakers, if you can get a hold of them, especially if they're affordable. That's the one reason why I've stayed away from doing that, is because, if you buy a set of vintage 30s, say, even if it's, even for a 212, a set of vintage 30s, or, what are those things, 130, 140, 50 bucks, so I mean, you're upward of $300 already, and there's other cabs out there that come with actual vintage 30s nowadays that you can buy for that much or less. Or maybe a little bit more. Regardless, either way, save yourself the labor, and the cost of the other parts going into it. So, I don't know. My personal opinion, is it's. But I also hear a lot of other people that are they're building cabs pretty economically that way. So, what do I know? PV Delta Blues, 30 watt, 15 inch speakers, phenomenal and very affordable. I know the amp. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with the speaker. Guitar players don't use 15 inch speakers very much because they, sometimes they get a little too woofy. Especially for metal, the big, I don't know, man, maybe not, I guess it depends on the speaker, but people, metal players tune down real low, play it into a 15, they can get, like I said, they can sometimes get a little loose, a little woofy. The Rat Pack pedal, is that the name of that JHS one I couldn't think of earlier? Is that what it's called, the Rat Pack? I guess it makes sense. Regardless, that's a cool one. If I were going to buy a JHS pedal tomorrow, that's the one it would be. Let's see. William De Silva says, are my comments coming through? Commenting on my phone, but watching on my big screen looks like they're not. I guess you would know the answer before me, but I've seen several of them come through, and addressed several of them, so I'm assuming they are. Ragnar666 says, do you ever watch Trogley's Guitar Show? No, I haven't. Maybe once or twice, but it's not a regular channel that I follow. Nothing against him. I know he's real popular, and and he does put out some great content, but from what I understand, it's it's basically it's a parade of Les Pauls on the used market, one after another, and for deals that nobody's ever gonna, almost nobody will ever be able to acquire themselves. So, and I know that's not the premise of his content, but so it's really the main reason, though. There's not too many guitar channels left that I still watch regularly. I still watch Fluff. I still watch Glenn Fricker, and and I watch Kyle Bull occasionally. I still watch Pete Thorne occasionally. Some of the really big channels that I used to watch a lot of aren't really producing videos as much as they were anymore. Like Jared Dines, he's only putting up, it seems like he's only putting up like one video a month anymore. So I mean, it seems some other things have garnered his attention. Probably writing music and production. I'm assuming, things musicians do. Just as an example. So, I believe it or not, I actually have other interests outside of guitars and music, as well. And I watch a lot of that stuff on YouTube, as well. So, do I watch Trogley? Do I watch Trogleys? Not that much. Very rarely, actually, but, it's not due to anything about him or his content. It has a lot more to do with me and my interests. So, Block of the Lighter says, seeing something similar. I don't know. Similar to what? I don't know. Based on the Blue Channel, the 5150. I'm assuming just that, you're referring to the 5150 Overdrive. I'm assuming, the regular 5150 as opposed to the Stealth or, whatever. Fuck, I can't keep up with all the variations of it now. Tyler Johnston Guitar says, who's your favorite blues player? Ooh. Oh, boy. Let me give that one some thought because there's... I like Stevie Ray Vaughan as much as the next guy. I mean, he's never been my favorite guitar player, but I certainly see the appeal. And then, like I said, I mean, who doesn't like SRV? So I mean, I guess Stevie Ray Vaughan I like as much as the next guy. Some blues players that I really really like. Doyle Bramall the second, whatever, the third, or however many he is. I really like Doyle Bramall, and Eric Sardinas I like. I guess you can call him a blues player. I don't know. He's a little more out there, but he does some blues type stuff. I'm not the biggest blues guy in the world. Like I said, having said, I mentioned earlier, never owned a really nice Strat. As much as I would like to, but, I'm a rock and metal guy at heart. So, I don't, not too many blues artists that I really gravitate towards, Again, nothing against it, just not my primary genre. I'm thinking of getting the PRS MT15. Do you have a video on that? I do not. Unfortunately, I wish I did, and I wish I owned that amp as well, because they are absolutely kick-ass. I've played through one at a store a time or two and was really impressed. I've sold a few to customers at my full-time job, and every single one of them has loved it. That's one of those I've never had anybody can make a complaint about them at all. It's a metal amp. Blues players probably aren't going to buy that one, but it's a rock and metal amp. It is a kick-ass rock and metal amp. So I don't have a video, but I can tell you, what I can tell you from experience. It's well worth the money. It's one of the best. I think it's arguably one of the best values on the market today, amp-wise. Alex2112 says, Robert, love your show. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. Tyler Johnson Guitar says, anything with Tremonti's name attached to it is usually pretty good. In most cases, yes. Pretty much in all cases. His PRS guitars don't suck either, So yeah, I guess there's actually a lot of truth to that. I will say that that new Miles Kennedy, telly looking thing that PRS put out recently is interesting. So, I'm not a telly guy, but it's, I don't know. I mean, it's not a telly. I mean, it's it's got humbuckers and all kinds of stuff in it. They did a Mark Kennedy version they did a Miles Kennedy version and a non Miles Kennedy version. Which, other than the finish, I'm having a tough time telling the difference between the two. But they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool. Hats off to PRS for for coming out with something a little bit new, a little bit off the beaten path from what everybody expects from them. I like when they do that. Like with the Silver Sky, when that came out, and everybody was all up in arms. Oh my God, I can't believe he made a Strat. I can't believe he did that. I can't believe. How can you not fucking believe that he made a Strat? I'm surprised it took him this long. Everybody else is making a Strat. Why not Paul? So, and apparently it's done well enough that they've since come out with an SE version of that, and now they're doing the tellies. So, yeah. So, Thunder Falcon's hitting the road. See you, dude. And Janice Lala has come in just in time to see Thunder Falcon leave. So, SE telly style I might try out. Not me. The SE. Here's the thing, man. Paul Reed. I'll give PRS credit, because the SE guitars really do keep getting nicer and nicer. But if you've ever gotten to play a really nice core model, like a core model run of the mill custom 24. If you've ever gotten to play a really nice one of those, all of a sudden, I was always kind of on the fence, and I don't get the PRS thing, they just don't, for some reason they're nice, beautiful guitars, they just don't, they for whatever reason they just didn't do it for me, and then I got a hold of a really nice one, it was just, and this one belonged to a buddy of mine, and maybe he just had it set up better than any of the other ones I had ever played, I guess. I don't know, but regardless, this one I got a hold of, and this thing was kick-ass. And this thing, I was, ever since I played it, and this is probably 10 years ago now, ever since I played that guitar, I was like, okay, now I get it. And ever since if you play a core model, the SEs and and the S2s, like I said, they're nice, but it's like Epiphone and Gibson. There's nothing wrong with the Epiphones, but I'm one of the people that just prefer the higher end Gibson brand. There's nothing wrong with the SEs or the S2s. They are fine guitars, but they ain't core models. So this is the guitar snob talking, the guitar snob in me talking, but quite frankly, I've been doing this long enough that I've earned that right. So, let's see. Fatfish says, greetings from the UK. The other thing I will see is if these, the Miles Kennedy, the PRS telly things do come out, hopefully what that does mean is that they'll come out with the SE version sooner rather than later, like in the next year or two, and in which case, then I will, what's the Silver Sky SE selling for? What's that, $850, $900, something like that? I mean, I got to give him credit there. That's a phenomenal price for a guitar like that. That's $100 more than my Lucky Schecter, what it sells for now. That's arguably in my opinion, one of the best guitar values I've ever bought. Let's see. Dean Bibb says, "What's your opinion of vintage brand guitars? I've played several and I'm impressed with the price point. They're pretty awesome, man. I'd rank them right up there with Agile guitars. They may be made in the same factory. I don't know, but like all of these kind of, it's not fair to call them off brands, but these kind of unknown brands from China that suddenly come out of nowhere and all of a sudden are like really, really nice, well-made guitars. Vintage and Agile were kind of like the first, two of the first ones of those. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with them. There for a while, the vintage brand guitars, you couldn't find them. Especially during COVID, people, all of a sudden, people were snatching them up everywhere, because they're such a good value. But yeah, no, they're definitely good value. If you're eyeballing one, buy it. Luis Villarreal is here. I like bacon. Hey, there's a username that I can get on board with. Hi from Ohio, The Warning rocks. The Warning, I'm assuming that's a band name that I'm not familiar with, but I believe you. Jeff 7, hey, there's a name I haven't seen in a while. What's up, dude? Yep, I see. A lot of people that used to watch my videos pretty regularly. I don't know if YouTube's not putting them in their feed anymore, or or if they're honestly, if they're like me, they just kind of got burned out on gear demos. So, kind of going back to what I was talking about in the video a couple of weeks ago, that gear demos just, I don't know. I mean, they're still there. They still serve a purpose. What I found after that video, you guys definitely still want them, still want me to keep doing them, which is great. But they're never going to be viral, blow up, videos. So I suppose some of that is contingent on on the channel and their popularity and that kind of stuff. But even like Henning Pauly has told me he's told me and said my videos never blow up. My videos are there for people who are researching a particular piece of gear. They do well. They do well the first day and then they kind of die off, etc., etc. Which is pretty much the same experience as mine, even though his audience is a lot bigger than mine. But I'm suffering from some severe, mental disease that I am no longer living the quality of life that I want to be living anyway. Which I suppose could be said for anybody that's playing a reverse flying V, but me in particular. Nope, no reverse flying Vs for me. That's the stupidest looking thing I've ever seen. No, thank you. Looks like you guys got quiet. Let's assume we go on 38 minutes. Give another 20 minutes or so. Maybe not. Guitar Tim is here. Alex2112 says, Robert, what do you think of the Johnson Millennium amplifiers from the 90s? I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan at all, actually. They were, they were basically, I hate to call them, discount line 6 amps, but that's kind of how I viewed them. They were like the first of like the production modeling amps, along with, of course, the line 6 stuff was the first of that, but the Johnson stuff came out not long after them, and we're doing the exact same thing. But I don't know, now that said, I know people that bought those amps back then that loved them and still love them to this very day. I mean, I've clowned on them in videos before, just because you guys know I like to do that. But they're not for me, but a lot of people do like them. So part of that, though, I mean, I think most modeling amps sound like shit anyway. They're just Tyler Johnson Guitar says, what advice would you give someone whose channel just hit 100 subs? Don't stop. You know, if you're on a regimented, if you're not on a regimented schedule, like upload schedule, I don't know how many, how often you're uploading. But so if you're not, say you're uploading 2 videos a week, if you're not uploading them at the, on the same day every week, at least the same day, if not the same time, start. That's going to allow you to get some concurrent syncing, if you will, schedule syncing going on with you and your audience, and they'll expect, hey, it's Wednesday, Robert's going to have a video coming up here this morning. So, and it doesn't need to be right on the same hour every day, I guess, but, you play around with that, see what time of day works best for you and your audience. But, so I would say if you're not doing that, it was right around, my first 150 subs when I started doing that, when somebody advised me, and probably the best advice that I could give you, at that point is, if you're gonna take some risks, do it now, because if something bombs, you got nothing to lose, and if something takes off, and you have no idea what's gonna take off at this point. I scratched and clawed my way to my first 300 subscribers for the first, let me think here, 2 years. It took me to get 300 subscribers, I think. 2 years, and I was just, I go back and I look at my videos back then, and they all make me cringe now. But, going back and looking at my videos then, where they are now, a lot has changed, as anybody can tell you. But it took me 2 years to build 300 subscribers. Finally, I decided, for whatever reason, I don't know what gave me the idea, but something did, and I decided to, I had a couple of videos, like a video of a Gibson guitar or two that, that garnered a few views, more views than any of my others, so, but for whatever reason, I put up my 7 worst pedals video, just on a whim. What the hell, let's do something a little bit different. So I put up that video, and that's the one that took off. I went from 300 subscribers that took me 2 years to earn to 1,200 subscribers literally overnight. And then I think by the end of the next day, I was up at around 2,000, 2 or 3,000, 2,000, something like that, 3,000. I don't know. It's, I had it. Taking the risk, found that formula that got that first video to blow up, and by blow up, I mean find something that generated enough interest that YouTube thought it was worth blasting out to a larger audience, and here we are. That doesn't mean that you'll have it figured out, because I've been doing this 8 years now, and I'm still not even at 30,000 subscribers. But then you got people like Kyle Bull, who've been doing this like 2 years, and granted, he cranks out 4, 5, 6, 7 videos a week, but I think he just passed me and hit 30,000 subscribers in like 2 years. So, but I think he's also got, my audience seems to be a little bit older, which is fine. Younger metalheads, and a lot of those people don't gravitate towards me. I get people that are my age and older that kind of grew up in the 80s. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I guess, and I rambled on about this long enough, but I will say, I'll reiterate, if you're going to take some risks now, do some things that are different, a little bit different from your usual content, stuff that your audience is not used to seeing from you. If you do it now, always keep doing it, because YouTube's always changing. The YouTube gods are always fucking with the algorithm, making it easier for the big channels to trigger and harder for other. Anything that the YouTube algorithm is doing, it's always an adjustment for YouTube to put more ads in front of their viewers for them to make more money. Period. this ecosystem between YouTube and creators and the viewers, you know, with Daryl, shit, I can't think of his last name now. He's a YouTube expert. He's been on YouTube since like the beginning, like 2004 or something. You know, whenever YouTube started, 2006. You know, that's how long he's been on YouTube, and there's a YouTube expert out there. It's him. Daryl, God, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on his last name. Anyway, but he'll tell you that ecosystem with those three people in that relationship, he's never seen it in balance. You know, since I've been doing it, like I said, every single adjustment that YouTube has made to the algorithm, the algorithm anyway, none of them have favored the creators. None of them. You know, most of them have favored the viewers, or YouTube. You know, now what YouTube does do for creators, you know, is they implement other ways, you know, things like, putting, enabling creators to pin their merch store right below the videos. So I mean that, just as an example, and there's other things beyond that, but you know they've come out with new ways to help viewers, help creators monetize more. You know, like say, tip jars and stuff like that. Which mine, by the way, if you click that dollar sign down there on the bottom of the chat, that's a great way to support the channel with super chats. YouTube does come out with that kind of thing for creators, but as far as algorithmic changes, very seldom. So, my advice, take some risks and see if you can figure out what's going to make your audience take off. Let's see. Okay, I've been yammering on about that for a while because now I'm way behind in the chat. Thoughts on thick 3mm plus picks? I have no use for them. My pick thickness is this is a 1mm, and this is as thick as I go. 0.88 1mm. That's what I use. Even like what's a Jazz 3 1.5 or something like that. Even that's too rigid for me. But they make as many different types of picks out there as there are guitar players. So who cares what I think? Try some different ones and see what works best for you. The only one that can answer that question accurately for you is you. Blocker Larder says, I think I'd need to do a video on my Plexi and a pedal. Cheating with that Tonex pedal. I've tried. I've reached out to IK to try to get a hold of one of those Tonex pedals because one, I'd really like to have one just to see what it's about. Number two, I think it's a lot of people are raving about it. Especially if it's essentially if it's a Kemper or something like that. On a $300-$400 pedal or whatever it costs. That's pretty good value. So, and I'm intrigued. I use a lot of their plugins, so I like their, I do like their products. Six-string Lord is here. I like bacon, says Robert. Any thoughts on the new PRS Telestyle? Yeah, we talked about that earlier. I think they're, I think they're cool. I think they're cool looking. I'm a Miles Kennedy fan. A lot of people don't know that dude's a monster guitar player. It's about damn time PRS came out with a fucking signature guitar for him. I'm on board. I think it's I'm not a Tele body style kind of guy, but I like when PRS comes out with new stuff that they don't normally come out with. So Louis Villarreal says, I have an X100 SR in S. Scholes Rockman. Those are cool. I bought in the early 80s. What do you think of them? Yeah, all that Rockman stuff is great. Tom Scholes took me a minute to figure out what you were referring to, but now the Scholes Rockman, I know exactly what that is. There's a whole series of those little amps. I think Boston if you're not familiar with Rockman or Tom Scholz, Tom Scholz is, it's kind of the brainchild behind Boston, and guitar player. And he designed and built all of his own guitars and amps and studio gear, recording gear, all that stuff. He's really, hey, somebody in the super chat, I'll address that here in a second. There's, really not very many musicians out there like Tom Scholz. I mean, he had an entire line. To this day, the Tom Scholz Power Soaks are still really, really desirable if you can find them. Yeah, but Boston, I believe, the Rockman was a little, basically it's a little headphone amp. Really what it was. And I think Boston recorded their entire first album on one of those. So, on an amp designed and built by Tom Scholz himself. So, the man's a genius. Guitar Tim in the super chat. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate the support. I Like Bacon says, enjoyed my Johnson when it would work. Are we still talking about amps here? If not, then there's medications for that. Alex2112 says, how about the Jet City 20 tube heads? Yeah, they're great. They're cool, and that's another one of those amps that's a really good value out there. For tube amps, you can pick those things up really, 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 really affordably. I think even still today, some of them I've heard sound better than others. I mean, I've never really quite gravitated towards them. I know they're Soldano designs, but nothing wrong with. I've never owned one. Nothing wrong with them. They're just not one of those amps I've ever gravitated towards. But I know a lot of people that like them. The 50 watt ones seem to be really cool too. I know a lot of metal guys really like that amp. Let's see. Jeff Seven says, spent my week restoring a 60s EKO Ranger 12 string. Wrote my first song on one back in the late 70s. I was in sad shape when I got it. Or it was in sad shape when I got it. I hope that it is back in playable condition where you can go back to loving it. Oops, I missed one. Allen Aviation says, I have a Black Panel Air 210 Tremolux cab. Would like to know the original speakers, PQ10s, or some Oxfords. Tremolux, I'm assuming that you're talking about a Fender cab. But I'm not. I couldn't tell you. I have no idea what speakers would be in that thing. Block of the Lighter says, Kyle Bull, isn't that the guy with the cab fetish? Nothing against that, by the way. I think he just posted on Facebook the other day that he just recently acquired his 100th guitar cab. That dude's got amps and cabs on. I don't know where the hell he gets the money to pay for all that shit. I mean, he's got amps and cabs on top of amps and cabs, and I'm not talking, line sixes. I mean, I'm talking Engels and Diesels and I mean, high dollar shit. I have no idea where he gets the money for all that kind of stuff. It's none of my business, but anytime I see somebody with gigantic gear collections, especially when they're younger than me, I gotta wonder, what am I doing wrong? Apparently, I'm in the wrong business. Tyler Johnson Guitar says, yeah, I've been making subscriber polls asking them what kind of videos they want to watch, and that helps a bit. It helps some. I recently did something similar on my channel, and sometimes you do learn a lot about what your audience wants to see. It's one of those things. I mean, there's not a poll in the world that is. Are you guys still having trouble hearing me? Some of you yes or no. I mean, I'm seeing my audio things bouncing up and down, but here, I'll tell you, I'll turn it up a little bit. Let's crank it up here just a little. 37, 39, 40. There we go. Now, well, that may be. Audio is good now. All right, so hopefully I'm not clipping. I may clip. Yep, here a little bit. Let's go there. Okay, sorry about that. Where was I? Yeah, that's right. I don't think there's a poll in the world that's going to give you, that's going to tell you exactly what content you need to be creating, because, especially as your audience grows, so YouTube's got this thing, I got 29,000 subscribers right now, and every time I upload a new video, the ones that, it sure would be nice if YouTube sent out an alert to all 29,000 of my subscribers. Realistically, they probably send that alert out to about 5% of you, maybe. And then the ones of you that actually watch that video, if the title is something that catches enough of your attention to go click on it, is a probably a small percentage of that. So, so all the polls in the world aren't going to tell you exactly what you need to know, because they're not going to reach all of your audience, and there's really not a whole lot that you can do about that. I have heard about people signing up for, getting on, and maybe I should try this myself, but they'll get like an email service that'll blast out, like 12,000 up to like 12,000 email addresses for free. So you can poll or have your subscribers sign up for that email alert. And then every time you post a video, you can send out an email alert to those people and reach them that way. But, to reach them directly from YouTube and YouTube alerts and, all that kind of stuff, it ain't going to happen. So, yeah, it's that's why I'm telling there's, like I said, there's not really I don't think you're quite ever going to figure out exactly what you need to know, but that's the best way that I know. The best way is just try different things. Block of the Lighter in the super chat, thank you sir, says Antarctica is far away. You might need to book with Elon. Here's some help. Well, thank you sir, I appreciate that. I do. The vacation portion of that is not, is actually true. And while Mrs. Jackson probably would like to see, she probably would enjoy a trip to Antarctica. I ain't fucking going anywhere near that place, but, the other places she does want to go, it ain't real cheap to go there either. So, there is some truth to it, but the Antarctica part is a joke. I see Braun, and I see Janice Lawless says Braun, and then Fatfish says Daryl Braun, and looks like that was the end of that exchange. So, okay. I'm going to assume you guys aren't talking to me. Block the Lighter says I bought a Tonex and don't regret it at all. Profiled my complete rig and I cannot hear the difference. Interesting. Okay, well, I reached out to IK, but they haven't responded back, so. Guitar Tim says, Robert, what's your opinion on the Marshall Origin amps? They're pretty awesome. I like them quite a bit. I especially for the money. I mean, God, the prices are tough to beat. And yeah, I know they're made in China, and that Marshall purists ain't having that and all that bullshit. But the ones I've heard, the Origin 20, the Origin 50, I don't know what you guys are hearing, but they sure as hell sound like classic Marshalls to me. You know, I saw right when they released them. I think when they announced them at NAMM. Whatever year, what was that, 2017, maybe 2018? I don't remember. I think maybe it was 2018. They're one of their a guy that works for them. His name's Steve Smith. Is their product specialist, one of them anyway, over there in the UK. And he's also the guy that that you see in most of Marshall's or most of Marshall's YouTube videos and promotional videos and product demos and stuff like that. The ones that Marshall makes themselves. That blonde haired, that young blonde haired guy that you see in those videos is a guy named Steve Smith, and Steve Smith is a phenomenal fucking guitar player. And I saw a video at NAMM where he was demoing those in front of a crowd, and my God, they sounded kick ass. So I honestly, I don't know why I haven't bought one of those for myself yet. Probably because, probably because I don't know why. I guess there's just been other priorities that that I wanted to invest my money in first, but I will have one of these days. It's the biggest question for me is it going to be the 20 watt or the 50 watt? So I'm not which I'll make that decision with time because those two are only like $150 in difference in price. I don't know. William De Silva says, "I'm sure Kyle's in debt is how he gets all that. I imagine anyway. I give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think it's fair to assume that. Who knows? Maybe his family's got a lot of money. Maybe he's bought and sold. He horse trades on the. I know he does a lot of horse trading on the used gear market himself. So he no question about that. He does a lot of horse trading, which I know that money dials. That money does a lot to support his how he runs his channel. That much I do know. And it's not like I have access to his accounting, his books or anything. I don't know all the ins and outs of how he runs his channel. I just, I'm curious, but I don't think it's fair to say that he's drowning in debt because of it. So, he doesn't have it. I mean, his job is YouTube. He's managed to make that his full time. That's how he earned his living. So he's doing something. He's doing something right. So, it's probably, I know he's probably got some deals with Sweetwater and AMS. Some the other brands, the other retailers that he's a affiliate with. I know they both of those companies have supplied him with gear, and I don't know if they paid him for demos or anything, but. Lewis is out. Jeff Seven says 5x5 5x5. I don't know what that's referring to. Let's see. Louis Villarreal is hitting the road. Janice Lawless says they won't even notify you if the belt is on. I'm not sure what that's referring to either. Alex2112 says, Robert, you need to get into a drama with another guitar channel, and this will increase your views. No, that's I draw. I'll clown and make fun on. I'll clown on and make fun of gear all day long. Because I think my audience I think realizes that, it's the dumb shits out there that watch worst the top 8 worst production guitars ever video. The first time I made fun of the fucking reverse flying V, the people that watch that video and think it's it's me making a serious review. Those are the dumb shits that I can't comprehend that level of stupidity, because if you think that that's a serious review or even a review, if you think that video is for anything other than purely entertainment, it was designed to get a laugh. That's what that video was for. That's what most of those worst of videos. That's what most of them are. They're just they're designed. They're entertainment. They're not reviews or even serious opinions or anything, anything like that at all. So, I've got no problem making fun of gear. I roast gear all the time, because, again, it's fun. I draw the line at one thing I will never do is start taking pot shots at other guitar players, other musicians, or other YouTube creators. That I won't. That's a line I won't cross. Because there are people out there that have crossed that line. That's how they built their audience. But now they've got this audience that that expects it. And not only do they expect it, but they're this bloodthirsty audience that I don't, that's not what I want. That's not what I want for me. That's not how I want people to perceive me. If you don't like me because you think I'm bald, fat, and overweight and a terrible guitar player, fine. If you don't like me because you think I'm I'm an asshole that cusses too much and doesn't have any tact, fine. If you don't like me because you don't like my content, fine. But nobody's ever gonna. I don't ever want people, to have a negative opinion of me because, I intentionally, maliciously went out to try to, hurt somebody else's opinion or put them on, do. I'm not going to mention any names because we all know the people that have been on the receiving end of that, and it's a really, really negative way to build an audience. I would rather be at 8 years in at 30,000 subscribers or a little less than 8 years in and 200,000 subscribers, knowing that I did it, beating up on on other people that really I don't I don't have any more perspective on than anybody else that's sitting at home watching YouTube videos. So. William De Silva says, thoughts on the Randall Diavolo series. Well, if you look about right there. Here, let me switch. Right there, where my thumb's pointing, is my Randall Diavolo RD20H. And I did most of my gear demos through that amp for several years, 2, 3, 4 years. And I do still pull it out every now and again. One reason why I like it is because the clean channel on it is surprisingly phenomenal. I mean, it's not just a good clean channel. It's a really, really good clean channel. So, I'm a fan, and I like the gain channel too. Is it's dark. It's a really dark sounding amp, but it's a heavy fucking. I mean, it's a metal amp. That's what it is. I dig them. I like them quite a bit. I wish that Randall hadn't jacked up their prices on those like they did with everything else. Because I bought mine used 7 years ago. I bought mine used. They were for about $250. Which may have been that was probably $50 less ish. I mean, they were selling around $300 on the used market a little bit more consistently at that time. Pardon me. I think they were about $500 new. Now they're $1,249. People are trying to get $800-900 for them on the used market. Nobody's paying that much for them. So I mean, I just I don't know. Randall's. I mean, I get inflation's a thing, but Randall's. I don't know enough about their logistics of why they're why the prices have increased as well as they do. But that said, Diavolo series, I like them. Mike Fortin's a genius. Who's the guy that designed all of them. The 1 watt I haven't played though. The 20 watt and the 45 watt, which are basically the same thing except for the power section. Those are the ones I got the most experience with. Let's see. Janice Lawless says you were saying people aren't getting notifications. They don't get them even if your notification bell is on all. you know, I mean, I've even seen it with my own activity, you know, channels that I've been subscribed to forever that, you know, even the ones that I do turn on the bell, you know, eventually those notifications stop coming. So, you know, as I add new subscriptions to my list of channels I'm subscribed to, you know, the other thing I've noticed, you know, some looking through all the channels that I've subscribed to, there's some on there that I have no idea who the hell they are or how they got on that list. I don't ever recall subscribing to them, even if it was, you know, like a newer creator or something like that I may have subscribed to just as a favor to help them out. But so I'm convinced that YouTube's just kind of throwing shit in there for whatever reason, you know, family members or employees or something. I don't know. Hey Andrews, searched your channel but didn't find any videos. If you tried demoed Synergy yet or going to check one out, just bought the head and it's ridiculous. It's helping me clear studio space. By the way, you rock. Thank you, I appreciate it. No, I've not demoed any of the Synergy stuff, unfortunately. So, you know, I do, however, own. If you look right there where my thumb is, right above the Randall RD20H, that there is a Randall RM22. And if you're not familiar with that amp, that was the, you know, the first of the module series amps that I think were also designed by Bruce Egnater. And, you know, the Synergy, I'm told the Synergy modules are compatible with that thing. So I've thought about buying a couple of the Synergy modules, you know, and, you know, just to plug, you know, just to pop them in to see, you know, and, you know, maybe do some demos on them. But I don't know the differences in the sound between my Randall head and the Synergy amps. So the Synergy amps, Synergies are great, you know, and they are a good way to save space and, you know, and save money in a lot of instances. But I have not personally gotten a hold of them. So, Block the Lighter says, "Isn't the Diablo what used to be the Satan?" No, the Satan was totally different. The Satan was basically Old England's signature amp for a long time, and then, you know, that deal ended and they discontinued it. But it was the Satan was not the Satan, and the Diablo were not the same. The Diablo, I think, is actually what had actually been out a long, you know, came out way before the Satan ever did, and are still being made. The Satan, I think, is also, I think that's a USA. You know, that's an American-made amp. I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it is. Whereas the appeal of the Diablos is it was a Mike Fortin designed amp, but they're made in China, so they're actually affordable. You know, they don't carry Mike Fortin prices. You know. Tyler Johnston Guitar says Randall makes awesome amps. If they're good enough for Dimebag, they're good enough for me. A lot of cases I agree with you. You know, they've put out a couple of clunkers, but you know, what amp company hasn't? You know, especially one that's been around as long as they have. Block of the Lighter says Mike Fortin makes the best noise gates too. Got them on both my pedal boards. I think it's the 33 Fortin 33 pedal. I think is the noise gate, whichever one it is. I think it's the 33. That's, you know, for noise gates. That one's real popular. I'm still big on the ISP Decimator 2. That's the one I still use. But Fortin 33 is pretty good. Symphonochrome says, "Hello, everyone. New York here. Welcome to you, sir, or ma'am. I guess I don't know. I don't really know. Most of my audience are males, so I guess that's why I kind of default to that. But I could very well be wrong." Tyler Johnston Guitar says, "What strings do you use? I recently started using Ernie Ball Power Slinkies, 11-48 for E flat, and I'm a huge fan." Depends on the guitar. Depends on the tuning. You know, I'm most of the demos that you guys see, you know, like, you know, with my Schecter. I mean, most of those I'm playing a guitar that's tuned down, you know, tuned down either a whole step or down to drop C. Most of those tunings, I'll usually go. I like lighter gauge strings, so for that tuning, even that low, I'll go 10 to 46. Standard, standard E, 9 to 42. Even lately, I've been playing 8 to 38. So I've been an Ernie Ball Slinky guy my entire life, and I will continue to be. I'm just a believer in Ernie Ball strings. I love them. But I actually like Elixir polywebs quite a bit. I put those on guitars that I don't play as often. Partially for the lifespan, but partially, the polyweb coating on them is a lot. It's much smoother, slicker feel to me than the NanoWeb coating from Elixir. The NanoWeb stuff is feels a little bit more like a traditional guitar string. The OptiWebs really feel like a traditional guitar string. So I like the smoothness that the polywebs give me. You don't see too many of those, too many people that use those on electric. So I'm kind of an oddball with that. But I like those. I also like Dunlop strings, just good old-fashioned Dunlop nickel plated strings. Fun fact, the same guy that designed those is the same guy that designed the DR strings. So... GHS boomers I've used occasionally. I do not like D'Addario. I don't like D'Addario strings. They go, for me, they go dead on me within 2 or 3 days, and they break a lot easier. I don't know why. Other string brands seem to do the exact same thing for other people, but I've not had good luck with D'Addarios. Janice Lawless says, I was looking at my friend's phone. He has my bell on all, but I don't think he has seen any of my videos. Yep, that's that YouTube algorithm. The alert bell. It's they control how much that actually helps. So I don't know why. Like I said, it'd be nice if they blasted that out to everybody that clicked the bell, but they don't. Be nice if they were a little bit more upfront about that, or why that doesn't work the way that they claim it does. Seems to me like they'd get more views and be able to put more ads in front of people if they did, but I assume they know more about their viewership than I do. Six String Lord says most noise gate pedals were copied from ex-Marshall engineer Alvarez Santiago, who made the noise gate for the Kerry King JCM 800 and the Joe Satriani JVM. I did not know that. Alex2112 says, did you go to GearFest last couple weeks and meet Phil McKnight? Fun fact, Sweetwater is about an hour and a half from my house. I could drive there in an hour, a little over an hour, maybe an hour and a half. One, I didn't even know what was going on, until I only found out because there was I'm in a secret a secret Facebook group that a lot of other creators are in, and being that it's secret, I'm not going to mention names, but I was seeing posts in that group about people being there, not necessarily from the people, from those people, but about other people that were there. So I mean, that's how I found out that it was going on, and I guess number 3, I didn't get the invite, because I think it was still a virtual event for most people. Really about the only people that were there were vendors, that physically there in person were vendors and, YouTube people and, Sweetwater people. But, I didn't get the invite for that. Number 3, I don't talk about my full-time employer on my channel because, for conflict of interest reasons, but, it's that same conflict of interest, that also, is the reason why I'd have to think about whether or not it'd be a good idea for me to attend that anyway. So, because, while it'd be cool to, to make some content up there in those parts, I'm not sure it would be so cool at the expense of pissing off the company that pays my mortgage. So, so nope, I wasn't there. I wasn't there. There's seemed like a cool event. And I'll be honest, I've talked about this before. Maybe I shouldn't feel this way, but I'm I'm kind of I'm a pretty introverted kind of guy, and I don't know. A lot of these other creators, I mean, I interact with them on Facebook and stuff like that, but that's about the extent of my, how well I know those guys and gals. And, I'd love to meet some of them and hang out with them, but, part of me, there's like a nervous fear about that. And the other part of me is I've pissed off enough people on YouTube that I'm kind of afraid of running into those people too, because there's a lot of crazy fucking people out there, I don't want to tell my wife that I'm leaving, for the weekend to go to a trade show, and she hears about, some whack job, fucking, trying to kick my ass or something because I fucking, I insulted his beloved reverse flying V or something, or the ZVEX Fuzz Factory. Those Fuzz Factory fanboys hate me. I have literally received death threats from them over that video. So, I don't know. Part of me says, I'm probably, when it comes to, GearFest and NAMM and all that kind of stuff, something tells me I might be doing just fine sitting right here in my own little corner of the world, keeping my distance from everybody. I don't know. Maybe that'll change. Fortin Zool, not the 33. Fortin Zool. The 33 must be the overdrive that all the metal guys have a boner over. My mistake. Six String Lord says, I used to use the Boss NS2 or the MXR Smart Gate, but nowadays I don't use noise gates with high gain amps. I love using feedbacks, and I use my tuner as mute anyways. Yeah. I suppose that, it's more, I get more noise out of my rig the louder I turn it up. So, I don't find, it quiets things down a little bit for, when I'm recording, and I do use them. I do use, the decimator. Decimator 2, that is. I do use it for recording, but it seems to be much more necessary for me, in a live rig as I'm turning stuff up real loud. So, I used the NS2 for a long time too, and that's one Boss pedal that I've not ever quite been able to figure out. But, I haven't had a whole lot of luck with that one. Smart Gate I've never used, but I have had good luck with the ISP decimators. The G-string's phenomenal, but that fucking thing's expensive. And the regular decimator too does just fine, as even the original decimator. Tyler Johnston Guitar says, I love Elixir acoustic strings. Used to use them on my Taylor. You probably used them on your Taylor because that's what came on your Taylor. Taylor ships all of their guitars with Elixir guitar strings. William Silva says, any experience with Buddha amplification, particularly the Superdrive series? Dave Friedman designed the preamp section in that series. Kind of a hidden gem. Most people don't know about it. Yeah. The Buddha amps are great amps. It's you don't really see too much of them out there on the market anymore. The PV bought them out a long time ago, and they haven't really seemed to do much with them since, unfortunately. So, that's kind of a drag. I don't know. It's like Trace Elliott. I kind of keep hoping that PV will do something, with those brands and actually make them more accessible and available out there on the market. To people these days. They're still out there, they're still making them, but PV doesn't do much of those brands. They don't market them very much. So, Alex2112 says, I like the different colored balls on the D'Addario strings. Yeah, but it's, I always get them confused with because they're different color, different order from the ones on the clear tone strings, which are different from the ones on the, I think even D'Addario has changed up what the color code, which string the different colors go on in different series that they're putting out now. I don't know. Alex2112, you're one of the cornerstones of guitar and amp experience on YouTube. Whoa. What do we got here? Error, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming, as such viewers will experience buffering. Oh, goody. Stream health poor. You cocksucker. YouTube, my fucking Wi-Fi extender is right, 10 feet away from me. So where was I? Alex2112 says, you were one of the cornerstones of guitar and amp experience on YouTube. We value your opinion. Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. I don't know that I'm any more or less experienced than anybody else out there. I'll tell you one thing that YouTube has taught me was, you don't have to work in a music store to have a lot of experience with guitar gear. Fluff is extremely knowledgeable, and to my knowledge anyway, he's never worked in a guitar shop, or worked on the retail side, as an example. Rick Beato, I don't think ever has. There's a lot of really, really knowledgeable people out there that, they know it as much or more than I do. They've just, experiences come from, other avenues, but I appreciate the kind words. It really does mean a lot to hear people say that about me. So, the Trace Elliott Speed Twin Amper head is comparable to a Plexi. If you can find them. Like I said, Trace Elliott amps, bass amps are a little bit more prevalent out there on the used market anyway. I haven't seen a Trace Elliott guitar amp in I don't know how long. Jeff Seven says, boss at the guitar shop I used to work at wanted to give me a ZVEX Fuzz Factory. Told him I already had a paperweight. Yeah, old Zachary Vex. Yep, he's the Fuzz Factory fanboys love to comment, love to clown on me and use the fact that Zachary Vex once commented on my video complaining that the guitar was out of tune, which may have been intentional, by the way. Again, if you took that video seriously, you're a fucking moron. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? Anywho. But yeah, they all love to remind me that Zachary Vex once commented on my video that he was less than impressed. So, I can't take a joke. I don't know what to tell you. So, all right, well, fellas, we're going about an hour and a half here. I didn't expect this to go this long, but you guys kept chatting, so. Those that were kind enough to contribute to the super chat, I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate the support very, very much. And those of you that those of you that didn't and still took the time to come and hang out here in the chat and just to hang out, again, I greatly appreciate the support from you as well. As for me, I am going to go. My whole day kind of got derailed because it rained like hell this morning in Indianapolis. So, I was planning on cutting the grass, doing yard work, and, all that stuff said, no, you're not, fuck you. So, I am going to go, I guess, go run a couple of errands maybe and put away a load of laundry and play some Gotham Knights on the PS5. And yeah. And maybe make Mrs. Jackson some dinner, because I know she's having a real busy day at work today. So there you go. Adios. Thanks, guys.